Hi everyone, it's Charlie Webster here. I hope you're all doing okay. I'm really very pleased to say, as you can see, that I'm joined with the man in charge of one of the top championship sides at the moment, Brentford's Thomas Frank. I've kind of given everybody else a round of applause, so I feel like I should you as well, Thomas.
Thank you.
This is for EFL and Minds Inside the Mind of series for Mental Health Awareness Week. So Thomas, I know at the moment that you're not in the UK, so whereabouts are you? And I can see like a Carlsberg sign just behind you in the background.
Yeah, just behind me in the background. Yeah, I can't run away from it, and I won't. I'm in Denmark together with my family. Just had the opportunity. Of course, at first I stayed 6 weeks in London in the lockdown, and there was an opportunity to go back because Denmark opened up slightly more to see some family and friends. Of course, still with social distancing, no hugs, no kissing, and some long walks or a coffee on the terrace. But it's just nice to see some people, and I think it links well with the subject we're going to discuss and talk about. That all of us need some of our loved ones close, and to see them and talk to them. Of course, we know it's strange in difficult times. It's strange that we can't hug. I can't give my mom a hug or the other way around, but that's the way it is. But at least it's nice to see people.
Yeah. How are you and your family at the moment? I know when we were chatting a bit earlier before we press record, I saw your daughter like walk behind the screen.
Yeah. But they are happy to be here. Of course, they have friends in London, but also friends in Denmark, here in Copenhagen. It's just been nice to see some of their friends from back in Denmark when they went to school, and they can be a little bit closer. So they are quite pleased. They do their online schooling, and then in the afternoon they can see some friends.
And what's it like around your area at the moment? Do you have quite a lot of space to go for walks and exercise?
Yeah, it's quite nice. There's a forest close by where I can do some runs, and we go for some nice walks. And my wife and I are doing a walk 2-3 times a week in the morning, just to exercise a bit and get some fresh air and walk and talk. So it's nice.
Have you been doing a lot of exercise then? Is that something that's helped cope with this period of time?
Yeah,
I have. So asking that question.
Normally I try to run 3 times a week, and I try to do that through this period as well, because not only because of Corona, I think in general, I think doing exercises for everybody just help, because when you're exercising, we know all the physiologically reasons behind it, but especially for the mind as well. I think sometimes when you're doing physical activities, you don't think. You're just in the moment, and there's a nice reward afterwards to the mind and to the body.
Yeah, I find it really meditative. It just like helps me switch off. Is there anything else that you've been doing, particularly during this period, to cope with the fact that you're not? I know you're working, but not as per se as you normally would.
Yeah, of course we work less, obviously, because for my profession, I can't train and I can't be on the training ground, so it's much less. So I was lucky. I had my family with me in London, and we could do a lot of things together. Go for a walk, play a board game, watch a Netflix series, do some things together. Try to do different kind of competition, making food together. So basically spending more time together. But it's also quite interesting. So after you've been together for a while, and it's not really vacation, then some afternoon or nights it was just 5 person on each laptop with each Netflix series, because now we've been together for quite a long time, and now we just need the personal space as well. But it's been nice.
Yeah, and I suppose not everybody, because you've got three children, right?
3 children,
I can imagine they don't always want to watch the same Netflix series as you and your partner does.
Let me put it this way: it's a big discussion when we need to decide one film for the night. So, no, it's good.
Is there any moments in this lockdown where you've just had one of those days? It's just been difficult, and you felt fed up.
Mm, I've been very privileged because it's fantastic to be together with your family that much. And when you're working,
Yeah,
I
I can
would
imagine you
say
don't get to see them as much.
exactly. When
Yeah.
you're working a lot of hours each week, it's nice to have that time together. But my wife and my oldest daughter, they are killing me because they say, "Dad, come on, you are what is it? You're FOMO. You're fear of missing out.
Oh,
Dad, come
really?
on, relax. I don't want to be together with you now. Come on, go, stay away. So when you're working too much, you just want to spend time together with your children, and you sometimes then you recognize that okay, they're growing up and they don't want to spend all their day with me, which I understand. So maybe that's the biggest thing, because of course when you work a lot, then there's a lot of sacrifices, and some of them is not spending enough, or what is enough, but time with your children, and when you have the time, then you just want to do it.
Yeah, I can imagine. And what about from a player's perspective? Because we've been chatting to a few players during this, and you're a manager, so you kind of take care of that whole team. So what role have you played during this period of time, and how has it been making sure that you're checking in with players and they're actually, not just doing the physical training, but they're actually okay?
Yeah, but we decided that beside the staff, of course, somebody is furloughed, but the staff who was not furloughed and me, we divided the squad into 3-4 groups, and then we make sure that one of us were in contact with the players once a week at least, depending on their situation, depending on if they had a family like me, or they were alone in an apartment, or where they were. So we just were checking up on them and having a call, and how are you? Are you okay? And what are you doing? Have you learned to play the guitar, or learn to cook another dish, or you just watched the 27th Netflix series, or so try to stay in contact with them and see if they were okay, and so that's been good.
Has anybody learnt the guitar?
I think some of them one song, but some of them definitely learned to cook a special dish.
Okay. Have you missed being part of that team and having that camaraderie yourself?
Yeah, then to completely honest, yes, you are missing the togetherness and that unique job you're having together with some fantastic people. Of course, you're missing that, because you really just all of us want normality in a way, to do what we normally do and like. That's one thing. But the flip side is I actually also enjoyed massively the time to be together with my family. And I'm not, because I've been working so much and so many hours, and for so long time, it's actually been quite nice to have enough time not to do a lot. That's been very, very big.
Has it made you, I always wonder, because we all kind of go like this, really fast paced all the time. Has it made you just go, oh, okay, and think anything differently, or try something different, because you've had that almost headspace, because you are so busy?
That's I would say that's the biggest thing. I will say that I had that opportunity to use more time with my family, and to think you're actually considering, is this the right thing I'm doing? Spending so many hours, so much time doing what I love, of course, and it's a privilege to do every single day. But everything you do, there's always some kind of sacrifice. And I'm not saying who should judge what is the biggest sacrifice people are having, but it's just giving me more time to think that I'm privileged in some ways, but also definitely there is some big sacrifice, which I knew, but then it's just so much more clear, spot on when you are right in the middle of it.
Yeah, it is really interesting. I asked that question because I think a lot of people are like, oh, okay, because we don't get time to often like pause to reassess where we are in our lives. Do you think it will make you approach football differently? I don't mean, not leaving it or anything. I just mean as in approaching how you manage or how you manage your own life and your own mental health.
I'm just moving 1 minute here. I know this is good because
No,
my
we can
daughter.
have a quick look. We can have a
Yeah,
quick
no, it's a very, very nice cottage because they were so hungry that they needed to do something. They needed to do some
two
food.
of your daughters? Two of your daughters?
No, my daughter and her friend. So,
and her friends. This time, because we don't get time to pause to reassess a lot, to be honest, I think this is completely unique because I think all of us to an extent get really wrapped up in each day and what we've got to achieve and these medium-term goals and this long-term goal of where we're going.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, I just wondered do you think it will make you approach your life, football as a manager differently? I'm not saying leave it, I just mean, would it make you approach your own balance or mental health differently, or the way you approach management in football? Phew, I remember the question.
Yeah, no. It was a very good question. Well done, well done, Charlie, to remember that one. And it's a big question, and it's actually a big question in life as well, because I think in this moment, or in general, this living in 2020, as you say, things are running so fast. And you need to do the best, everybody, and you need to push yourself, and you need to develop, and you need to improve, and all that crap. But we all know it's true in a way, but how much and how little, you don't know. None of us know, and I'm always trying to improve or getting better, and sometimes I'm getting totally fed up with it, and I'm thinking, oh my god, what am I doing? Come on, relax, take a chill pill, and you have time. And I know I 100% know, and people are telling me, Thomas, relax, take a rest, make sure you have time to think or do something else, and that will make you a better coach or a better husband or a better friend. And that's absolutely true. It's just difficult actually to give yourself or allow yourself to take that time. I'm getting better and better at it, and I just spent actually more or less 24 hours with a very good friend who's also a top coach, and we just had time to talk. No timings that we need to leave, so we just sat and talked about life, football, and all that, but also that we are always trying to push ourselves. And we both know that we actually become better, I say, persons or coaches or whatever, if we actually took some pauses sometimes or some breaks. We know that. So it is, even that we logically know it, it's so difficult to do. Unbelievable. And you're just running in that hamster wheel every single day, and it's just running, and you don't have that time and that mental space in your head to try to calm down a bit. So, and I definitely understand people if they're in that bad cycle, a cyclist. It's difficult to get out of it. You have that negative mindset of keep on going, and it's so difficult to get out of it.
I'm very like that.
Yeah.
I suppose, and I think so many people are. It's almost like we mark ourselves based on how much we achieve, and then we're always striving to constantly achieve, and then that marks our own self-worth. And then if we don't achieve it like yesterday, then it makes us feel like bad about ourselves. Has there ever been any moments in your life where you have I don't know, felt like that or suffered and struggled with mental health?
I think we all feel sometimes, are we good enough?
Yeah.
I think everybody feels that. If they say they don't, then they're not human beings. All of us have tried that. Whatever, if we've been in school when we were kids, when we were young adults, or we all get measured. We try to measure each other, towards each other, who's the best, or we take that education, or we need to find a girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever. I think I definitely feel that sometimes 100%. I'm good enough to what I'm doing this moment in time. But I think I try to say that quite often, that I think my biggest strength in my current job is that I'm always saying there's a lot of people who is much more clever than me, and much more skillful, and they're just much more. But I just know one thing: if I'm in doubt, I'll just tell myself, yes, you're good enough. Yes, of course you're good enough. Why shouldn't you be good enough? I think that's my biggest strength. That's my belief in myself. But of course, even though I have a strong belief, of course I get in doubt. And of course, sometimes when you walk in a room and now you need to make another presentation, or you need to be on it, or you need to, then maybe you just, okay, now we go, bam. So all of us are struggling, one way or another.
Yeah, there's a lot in psychology where you're supposed to give yourself those like healthy adult messages of I am good enough, I am lovable, I'm doing my best right now, I'm the best person I can be in this moment. Is that some of the things that you pass on to players? Because didn't you study psychology? And how much does that play into football?
I think it's a massive part of it. I think for all of us in life, confidence and what's the word for that in English? Not self-awareness.
Like self-worth, self-esteem?
Self-worth, self-esteem. Yeah, exactly. I think that's the biggest thing. Self-worth and self-esteem. That's the biggest thing. If you have that, no problem. It's worth. You can have a good self-confidence, but that doesn't make anything. You need to feel worthy, and you trust yourself. But I think self-confidence is massive. The difference between players top performing or not is how much they believe in themselves, and sometimes they need to build that. So, of course, I think you need to be honest to people if they don't perform or don't do things good enough. Of course, but I always try to boost that confidence. Or I actually boost not only the football side but also the human side. I always say that I boost them with the player. But every single time I meet one of their parents, one way or another, I'm always telling them that what a wonderful son you have. He is an unbelievable person. And besides that, he's actually an okay football player. But it's always...
That must be like a big part of management, right? Because even though you're a football manager, it's not just about football. It must be a huge part of those relationships, communication. We've seen it in so many different management styles. When teams work together, you can tell how close they are to the manager.
Yeah, but I think you're right. It is a big thing. It's also very difficult because I'm taking the decision if they're in or out of the team and all that. But in general, I just do that. That's a separate part of it. That's about trying to do the best to try to win that football match. But besides that, I care about all 25 players and I want the best for them. In the best possible way, but I can only choose 11. But that doesn't say that I don't care about the player who's not in the team. I want the best for him as well, as a person.
What do you say? I wasn't going to ask this question, but I'd love to know what type of things you say then when you don't, sorry, you're not in the team this week. Do you then kind of go, sorry, you're not in the team this week, but you're doing really well? Is it kind of like almost like a sandwich, when you deliver the bad news in the middle and then you surround it by some positive stuff?
I think it's, of course, it's, if I take a talk with a player and he's not in the team this week, then it's only because he's, started the last, 8 games. And now I decided he needs to start on the bench. Then I maybe take a chat with him. If it's some people a little bit in and out of the team, I'm not talking to them all the time about that, because I just learned from my career, as soon as you said, sorry, but you're not in the team, then they don't listen anymore. So I just put 4 criteria up, that those are the 4 reasons why you're in the team or not in the team. And that is, fitness, in terms of, are they fit, and, can they run hard work and stuff like that? Are they showing good attitude? Are they, is tactical reasons? And what is the last thing? I just said it earlier today. One more thing. Tactical, attitude, fitness, and the performance, of course, how they perform. And then I can always rely to that. It's because you haven't performed well enough in training, or the last games, or the attitude's been bad, or your fitness is not where it should be, or tactical reasons. I prefer another type. And then they can always come to me. My door is always open. I just learned that moment you don't listen. That's a little bit also about that mental health. You just get a big setback, because everybody in your family and friends, they will ask him, why you're not starting this weekend, and they need to explain, I don't know, the manager is crazy, or probably is. But then I follow up during the week when there's a little bit more space.
It's almost like when they've calmed down from that initial emotional reaction, where you're like, oh, exactly. I'm not playing. What about yourself? How do you cope with the lows and highs of management and losing games? And also, it must be so difficult, because we've so often seen managers vilified by fans and press. And I don't think you have, but how do you cope with that? Because it isn't just great. Even when you've had like a 10 unbeaten run, you might lose one game, and then all of a sudden.
Yeah. It's very difficult. I must say. And it's an art, and I'm not saying I'm doing that particularly well, to try not to get too high or not too low, because you'll always win matches and you always lose matches. And you also know that if you win 3 matches, you're a hero to the fans and the media and everybody. And if you lose, you're worthless. So of course, I guess I'm not a hero, and I know I'm not worthless. So I'm something in between. So you need to manage that in the best possible way. And every time you win, it's relief. It's not a massive joy. Yes, it's only a joy 5 times a year, because that's where you made that top performance, where everything just clicked and everything was fantastic. And then if you win 15 other matches, it's a relief, because well, good, we went past that one, next one. And you try with all those emotions in place. You just try to be in the middle of it, and stay as calm as possible, and try to take good decisions during that. And I think one big thing in the modern world is the social media, especially for the players, but also for a lot of young people, I think, maybe also older, because they need that boost, or whatever you call it, in terms of likes or whatever. But I'm not in any social media for various reasons. I decided that, of course, I'm also a little tiny bit older than the players. But for me, I can't see what it should help me that I have a lot of followers. Or I know it's also a way of profiling yourself, and a bit of this world. So I understand it, but I'm just saying, I don't think they can cope. I think it's very, very difficult to cope with, I didn't get that many likes, or now they're writing something to me. Should I reply to them, or should I just let it be? Or I think that's very, very difficult to cope with.
I've got a couple of friends in football who, it's good that you brought that up, because how do you then help the players with that? Because a couple of friends I know, as soon as they come off the pitch, and straight away the first thing they do, is they sit on the physio table, or before they even got it, is look at what people have said. And it can be 99% good stuff, but it's the 1% that people tend to focus on.
Exactly. which is crazy. So you can't. You need to have, of course, of course. I also think a lot of the players they manage to create a kind of a self defensive mechanism where they cope with it one way or another. But 100%, it hurts a tiny bit, as you said, 1 out of 100, which is ridiculous. If 100 thinks you are 99% think you are doing something great, and one person think you're stupid or worthless. Why? But I think
Yeah.
the human brain is not logically how it works and how it's assuming things. But I definitely think it will be good for people to have a strategy to cope with social media.
Yeah, it is funny how our brains work in that sense. We
Mm.
always just focus on that one negative thing rather than all the amazing things. And even that, say you've just scored the goal, I don't know, then you know that you've done well or you've performed well. But yeah, it is funny like that. And what about, because we're obviously doing this during Mental Health Awareness Week, and you're an On Your Side champion with Minds and the amazing partnership with EFL and Mind. How important do you think it is that we're talking about mental health in football, and the reason why you're chatting to me now?
I think it's extremely important, unbelievably important, because I think actually all people, one way or another, in their life must have experienced moments where maybe it's not a mental health issue, like over a longer period of your life or whatever, or you have not a diagnosis, but now you have a depression, or now there's something you're really struggling with. But I'm 100% sure that everybody have experienced some lows where it was difficult to manage the daily life. It could be after somebody died, or losing a boyfriend or a girlfriend, or you didn't get that job you were hoping to get. And I think everybody experienced one way or another some lows that they need to manage. It's part of life. And then the good news is that the most people are capable of getting through it one way or another, mainly because they have hopefully a good support network in family and friends. And I think it's extremely important to speak about your emotions to family and friends, because that's the best way to get out on the other side, even if it's a couple of hours or a day or weeks or month. Those are the ones that can help. And I haven't heard about anyone who spoke up about issues that they haven't had help from their friends or family. Everybody just want to help. So if you have an issue or problem, speak up. People will listen, and people will do everything they can, because all of us have some loved ones. Some have maybe 10, some have 2, but 1 is enough to help you.
Yeah, it's funny how we know that, but then there's this thing sometimes where you're like, but what will people think of me? Will they think that like I'm weak, or that I'm not good enough, or that I can't cope in my job? And I can imagine in a high pressure job that's hard sometimes, because you don't want to be judged, or you don't want people to think that you can't do your job.
No. I agree. It is. I understand that it's hard, but I think even I'm watching this Netflix series with Michael Jordan, The Last Dance. I don't know if you watched it. Have you seen some of it, or
a little bit? Yeah, because I'll name drop a little bit. One of my friends is the exec producer on it and worked with Michael. Yeah, so it's really interesting.
He's done a good job because that's extremely interesting. Yeah. But I just want to say that Michael Jordan is one of the best athletes in the world, and one of the best performance. And oh my God, he had to perform every single time. And I'm 100% sure, and he's not saying that. But of course he doubted himself just a few times in his hotel room after all the games. Of course he did. And you just think, no, he can never doubt himself. Of course,
because he's Michael Jordan. He's amazing. Yeah,
exactly. And there's one scene, and I think it's in episode 3 or 4, where he's saying, everybody's talking about being Michael Jordan for one day. Yeah, of course, that's no problem. It's not a problem to be Michael Jordan one day, but 365 days a year with that pressure to cope with that. And of course, he is extreme, but everybody is experienced that kind of maybe misbelieving in themselves in some moments. So everybody have some weakness. If you don't have any weakness, you don't have any strength. It's linked. Everything is linked.
Yeah, I really like that. If you don't have any weakness, you don't have any strength. How have you coped in those times then? Because I know that you mentioned grief, and I know that you have suffered a grief that we do know publicly of with a close friend of yours at Brentford. How did you cope with that? And how do you cope with that expectation?
But especially talking about grief first, I think that's it's always tough to go through spells where you're losing someone close to you, and you feel like that grief and that emotion. But again, I think it's important you speak to people, but also allow yourself to grieve and feel weak or feel that the world is unfair, but also that you know that the world moves on. The next day the underground are still starting and running, and everybody's going to work. So in the way, it's good that the world is just rolling continue, because that also allowed you to take the next step and move on. And then hopefully in your grief, or in the best way to remember your friends or loved ones, hopefully you continue your life, but still remember them, and acknowledge them for what they've done to you.
It takes time, I suppose.
Yeah.
And what would you say to anybody out there that's struggling right now with their mental health?
That's a good question.
I can hear your mind whirring.
Yeah, exactly.
Or from your perspective.
From my perspective, I think it's okay. It's so okay to have a mental health issue. Everybody have it one way or another. I would say it's normal in a way that you are not struggling, but that you have something that you're worried about, or that is struggling. You're struggling with, and the one thing, the best advice I can give: talk with people. Talk. I think that's the best, and don't feel not sorry, but don't feel it's unnatural. Don't. It's not. It's actually, I think it's a strength to show weakness. It's a big strength to show weakness.
Is that what you do then? Do you talk a lot to your family and friends?
Yeah. If there's something I'm in doubt of, or feel that I can't or whatever, then I speak to of course to my wife, but also to persons that are close to me that can help me. It depends on what kind of issue it is, but of course it's like, if let's take a clear, let's say it was a mental health issue that I struggle with, whatever, then of course I'll speak to my wife and to the three closest friends, I think. And then after the next step, then I will open up and speak to more about it.
And I could chat to you all day, but I just looked at the time.
I don't know what the time is. Yeah.
I'm not telling you, because you might go.
No.
What would you say finally to Brentford fans? Because I know so many people missing football right now, and you're in such a great position. What would you say to them? Give them a nice message of hope.
Last message, I would say, I hope they're well. I hope they are taking care of their loved ones, and that they're looking forward to hopefully the world get back to normality, and we hopefully can play some football. And we will love to, because as we talk about, I think sport and football is a help to a lot of people. Either they are doing it on their own, or they are following football, something to rely on, and that's a big thing for them. So we're really looking forward to hopefully play on the pitches again, and enjoying the highs and lows in football, just like in life, and go through the bad spells and really enjoy the good spells, and I'm looking forward to see them again.
Thank you so much, Thomas. It's been really, really great and interesting to almost get into your mind a little bit talking to you. So thank you. I was going to say, people can contact me if they want to around mental health, but I suppose you're not on social media, which might be a good thing. So,
Yeah.
But they will see you very soon.
They'll see you very soon, and they are welcome if there is anything with mental health issues, of course, to contact me one way or another. But unfortunately, I'm not on social media now. It's been a pleasure, Charlie. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, and stay safe, and love to your family over in Denmark. I hope you can come back soon, and you don't have to be in quarantine or anything, and you can get through the border. Yeah. Thanks so much, Thomas, for your time. And remember, for anyone out there, that you can check out advice and help on Mind's website, which is mind.org.uk.